Today's episode of Bacon and Eggs is brought to you by our good friends at Audible. Audible is a website where you can go and you can download from their huge library of audiobooks, and it's a real cheap membership at only $15 a month, but we want to go ahead and give you a free month on us. Now, Audible likes for us to give a recommendation anytime we do a partnership with them, so I'd like to recommend my favorite book I've ever downloaded as an audiobook. It's actually the book that got me into audiobooks. It's Ready Player One. It's read by Will Wheaton, and it's by Ernest Cline. It is one of the few movies that's coming out in the future that is already on our schedule, and it's just an epic novel about a kid who goes in and it's an epic story, much like the Avengers, like we're just about to talk about. So if you'd like to go ahead and listen to Ready Player One or any audiobook, hop on over to audibletrial.com/eggs to get a free month and free book on us.
Hi, and welcome to Bacon and Eggs. My name is Tyler Carlin.
And I'm Ethan Edgehill.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode.
This is a new podcast we created to be entertainment for your morning commute.
Or maybe as you go to bed or
really,
dinner.
Any time of day.
Yeah, really, any time of day. But we've known each other for like 15 years. And that whole time, we've always wanted to be creative together.
And it seemed like a ecological step for us to kind of rekindle our friendship and stay in each other's faces and kind of annoy each other on a week-by-week basis.
With a podcast. So, I mean, we've kicked around ideas on what to do for years, and we finally settled on sticking to what we're good at, which has always been not original works, other people's works.
Since we met those 15 years ago, we've been going to movies together, reading the same books, listening to the same music, and having in-depth conversations about all those things.
And believe it or not, we actually used to spend hours in the local bookstore, which is a Barnes & Noble, by the way, going back and forth over the movies we just saw in the theater on the other side of the parking lot.
Really getting down to business and defeating the Huns in this content.
Right. So our goal here is to bring that conversation to all of you listening. It was the best part of our childhood, and we hope it's the best part of your day. So this is going to be a little bit of review, a little bit of theory, and the occasional hot tamale.
But thanks everyone for listening.
And we promise this intro will probably just be a one-time thing.
You keep saying that.
Well.
So without further ado, Tyler, what did you think of Game of Thrones this week?
Well, Ethan, I did not watch Game of Thrones, but what I did watch was the 2012 classic, The Avengers.
Oh, what a great movie.
Oh my God, it was so good. This movie was released April 11th, 2012. That was 1,816 days ago.
That was a long time ago. But not as long as these other movies, but it still feels like it was a long time ago.
Sounds like a lot of days.
It was only 5 years, though.
Is that all that is?
Yeah, it's five and some change.
It's like 5.5.
Okay, well, that's less than one.
I guess. I mean, it rounds up.
No, it doesn't. He's like a fifth grader. I am 5.5 years old. 6 days after you turn 5.
That kid is in kindergarten, by the way.
Yep.
Not 5th grade.
I meant to say 5-year-old, but I came up with 5th grade. I mean, I guess you were just really bad in elementary school, Ty.
Nope. I was right on target. This movie had a budget of $220 million, which could be used to make this movie or could be used to set my family up for the next 6 generations.
Yeah, well, they used it to make this movie, and you know what? They did all right. They made $1.5 billion off the Avengers.
I know, that's the 3rd highest grossing movie ever.
Well, when it was released. It's been beaten. It's been beaten twice.
What's it been beaten by?
I'll give you one guess as to what number 1 is.
Star Wars.
Yes, The Force Awakens. And the other one was Jurassic World.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I watched Jurassic World recently, and eventually when we get around to the Jurassic World series, I'm sure we'll dive more into this. There's a lot more death in that movie than I remembered.
I've seen it once with you in the theaters. That week we went to like 5 movies.
It was a good week.
It was a good week.
That was a different bookstore we were discussing movies in.
We didn't go to a bookstore. We went to a bar.
It was a bar, yeah.
It was a bar.
It was a bar in the movie theater.
Anyway, so do people like the Avengers? I feel like people like the Avengers.
The people really liked the Avengers. It got 92% certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes, a 91% audience reception, and it got a 69 out of 100 on Metacritic, which
it
was
almost
just
passed.
Just slightly edged out by Citizen Kane.
Citizen Kane with the A+, the 100. Yeah, it could just slightly edged out.
I mean, it
was edged out by, what, 41 points? 31 points? I can count. I probably got
weren't you 30, 2 levels of math ahead of me all throughout high school?
No, I was, I don't know, 1 eventually. We don't talk about that.
No. I did Math 8 high, you did geometry. That's 2 levels.
Yeah, and okay, I did Algebra 2 twice. Screw you.
Ha! So who was in 5th grade when they were 5.5?
I still ended ahead of you. I just want to take a quick reminder to everybody. This podcast is brought to you by Rockstar Energy. It's not, but it's my body is brought to you by Rockstar Energy right now.
This 10:30 p.m. recording session is brought to you by Rockstar Energy.
I am drinking a Rockstar Hardcore Apple.
No way!
Is that what you're drinking?
Get out of town. That is literally exactly what I'm drinking.
This like weird like matte can with like an eagle on it.
Does it have an eagle on it?
Yeah.
Is that what that is?
But, like,
oh yeah. Oh my god.
I'm gonna take a picture of this can and tweet it from the Twitter
so
at Baconandeggs23 on Thursday. So.
Oh my gosh, that is so funny that you brought that up, because I'm literally drinking the exact same one, because ever since our unofficial sponsorship from Rockstar Energy started, I've been trying all the different flavors. I'm gonna die at 25, by the way.
You know, I was looking at I was at 7-Eleven. I was looking at the thing, and I was like, I could get Rockstar. I could get Rockstar Hardcore.
That's exactly right. It's better than Rockstar Blackout, because nothing says energy drink like I don't want to remember today.
I mean, Rockstar Hardcore Apple. Here on Ty and Ethan Review Energy Drinks, I will make one statement about Rockstar Hardcore Apple, in that it is the first energy drink I've ever had that truly tasted like something.
Yeah, it definitely does
like,
taste like something. It
very much tastes like apple. And normally energy drinks just have like a kind of hint of the thing it says it tastes like. I just like that it has a thing on the top that says contains no juice.
I wasn't asking. I didn't think it would.
Like, same.
I had kombucha today.
Really? That is such a Roanoke thing for you to do.
I know, right? I had kombucha, and then I went bowling and had craft beer.
Oh my god, you're so boho. Jesus Christ. I just got back from tour, and I ate nothing but pizza for 10 days.
Jesus.
I am literally a walking pizza.
I believe that. Tour sounds like it would really...
It was exhausting.
Just drain my whole existence.
But it was amazing at the same time. I love it, and I miss it, and I want to do it for the rest of my life, but I have a job.
We could tour the podcast.
Hopefully. That's the goal. Is
tour the podcast?
To get people to want to see us in multiple cities.
I think we need like a show.
I mean, we can figure something out.
Ethan, before we really dig into this movie, any injustice you would like to vent about, or any...
So, you reminded me of something in the activity you just participated in prior to this recording, which you went bowling.
Yeah.
And I wanted to talk about the injustice of bowling shoes.
Tell me more.
I don't like bowling shoes. I don't want to wear them in the first place. They don't...
Don't you normally wear bowling shoes?
No, I don't.
When I picture Ethan's shoes, I picture bowling shoes.
Okay, first of all, hop off my
sneaker
game. Which is weird
because...
My sneaker game is fire.
We've lived together, and like I've seen your shoes everywhere, and like we have the exact same pairs of shoes.
Yeah.
But I think there was a picture you posted on Instagram like years ago of your bowling shoes. And maybe it wasn't even you, but I have always associated like Ethan's shoes with red and blue bowling shoes.
I do remember that picture on my Instagram, but alas, it is not my everyday life. Bowling shoes are, first of all, uncomfortable. Second, always smell like Lysol.
I love the smell of the cleaner they use.
I don't. It just makes me like nauseous. But the main thing
is that what makes you nauseous, or is it the fact that you're wearing shoes that are like only sort of clean?
No, I'm actually like not a germaphobe at all. Like stuff like that does not bother me at all. Like I couldn't care less.
I wouldn't say I'm a germaphobe because I'm a notoriously messy person, but like if I can see where my lips were on the glass the last time I took a sip, I will not sip from that spot.
Anyway, bowling shoes are a racket. You know why? Because you tell me I have to have them, and then you charge me for them.
Yeah, duh.
I don't like that because they don't do anything. There's no purpose to them.
You can show up in your own bowling shoes.
You can, but like, what do they do? What do bowling shoes do? Do they make me better at bowling? They don't.
They might.
They don't.
They make you a lot better at bowling than heels would.
I mean, yes, but I've also bowled in regular shoes before, and it doesn't change anything.
But, I mean, it's the same thing as, like... like, if you go to the ice skating rink, they're going to tell you have to buy the ice skating shoes.
Right, but you need those. First of all, they're called ice skates. You just said it in the name. But you need those. Those are important. And that is also the whole activity you're there to do. I'm there to throw heavy balls.
I will tell you, on the topic of bowling, there is another issue with the whole world of bowling. And that, you know how, like, when you're a kid, they teach you how to get out of quicksand?
Yeah.
And, like, then you grow up and it's like, I've never seen I don't even quicksand. Know where quicksand is. Yeah. Well, it's the same with the bowling alley. People don't really remember this. When you're a kid, they teach you hardcore. Never go in the lane at the bowling alley. You will like die.
Have you ever stepped past it before?
When I was a child, it seemed much more challenging not to step past it.
Okay, but like, have you ever stepped past it before? since you grew up?
As a grown-up?
Yeah.
No.
Oh,
no.
you know why they tell you not to step past it?
Why?
Because you fall on your face and eat.
I mean, I get that.
Like, have
But
you
like-
ever
but
done
like-
that? Because I've done
but like,
that. I've stepped too
here's
far
the-
past the line and fallen straight on my face.
Why is it so slick anyway?
It's oily.
Uh,
They oil it.
They oil it?
Yeah, like constantly.
Ew.
Yeah, that's why bowling balls are greasy.
I've never noticed my bowling ball being greasy.
Oh, that's
Is that why the little fan is there?
that's why you're bad at bowling. Yeah, that's why the fan is there. Anyway, so Tyler, how did you watch the Avengers?
I watched it on my Xbox. I paid $3.99 to rent it.
Nice. I did not.
Although, fun fact, if you want to help Tyler watch the rest of the Marvel Cinematic Universe or rewatch any of the episodes we have watched, you can buy me DVDs on my wedding registry at Best Buy.
We're gonna be done with like most of it by the time you get your wedding gifts.
I have already gotten 5 wedding gifts. Okay, so Ethan, let's dive into the movie. The Tesseract. We start, and it's just literally the intro from Transformers.
Yeah.
Which I was totally cool with. Listen, the new Transformers movies, ever since Shia LaBeouf is out, all blow.
Yeah.
But the original Transformer movie was awesome.
Literally, my first note in here is when you first saw the Tesseract, were you blinded by its majesty?
When you first saw the Tesseract, were you blinded by its majesty?
I'm pretty sure like 3 people will get that joke. Maybe.
Are you kidding me? Everybody, if you get that reference, go ahead and tweet it at WowNow. The O's are zeros.
Fine.
So the Tesseract, the Chitauri, the whole thing, it gives us this little background on who the Chitauri are. How do you say Chitauri?
Chitauri.
Is it with a CH? Like,
No, it's a D, but it's spelled CH.
I mean, it's spelled Chitauri.
Yeah.
So that's about right. Chitauri.
But we don't really get any
Chitauri.
background on that. And I know I keep harping on this, but this is the only time I'm going to do this because everything else in this movie is really well explained except who in God's name are the Chitauri.
Yeah, but I mean, this movie doesn't need, like Loki just needed henchmen.
Exactly. But I just think that could have been handled better. That's the only time I'm going to say this.
Yeah, I mean, I think this movie's already 2 hours and 24 minutes long, or 23 minutes long. I think if you tried to put in any sort of background on the Chitauri outside of what's in the post-credit scene, it would have just been, like, it would have been too confusing. You know, that's like,
Agreed.
all we need to know is that they are literally just an endless swarm of baddies.
Right, and that they don't come
Loki
from the Nine Realms.
And they don't come from the Nine Realms. And that is literally good enough for me. I don't much care that the Chitauri don't have much backstory.
Yeah, no, that's okay.
I just,
We'll live.
yeah. But I do love Loki. Oh, man, do I love Loki.
Oh, yeah. So this
man.
for me, was the first time I ever saw Loki because I had yet to see Thor when I first saw the Avengers.
I had seen Thor, but only, I think, once. And maybe, like, while I was, like, with a group. And I don't know if this is consistent with what I said last time, but I remember seeing the Avengers and being like, this character is very heavily in this movie, and almost thinking that it was like an introduction role, even though I know he plays a huge part in Thor.
Yeah, like I never saw Dark World before I saw Age of Ultron. I never saw Thor before I saw this. So like this and Age of Ultron were the only experiences I had with Loki, like when I saw them. So,
you know, we get this sort of opening scene with the Chitauri and with Loki, and they're kind of giving background on the Tesseract. And I mean, basically all you need to know about the Tesseract is like it's a big power source. This movie is definitely less about the villains than it is the heroes.
yeah, it's the Allspark, but we'll just move on from that.
Right. And then we get, we're in Shield Land, the land of enchantment, or wherever we are. And my only, like, let me say this now. I love this movie. It's a little long. And other than that, it is literally flawless. Like, I'll have minor complaints here and there throughout this review.
I have a large complaint.
I love this movie.
I have a large complaint.
The first good guy that speaks in this movie doesn't make any sense to me at all.
What do you mean?
Why is Kobe Smulders in this movie at all?
Oh yeah, no, that was my large complaint about this. Is her acting is so bad it almost ruined the movie.
Her acting is so incredibly bad. Like there's no conceivable reason why she should be in this, and it's not like she was in this and then she had like a large role in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Those of you who have watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., because this was like the kickoff for that, because she didn't. She like appears in a few episodes, and you're like, well, but Kobe Smulders, you were in like 8 seasons of How I Met Your Mother. How on earth do you think you're too good for TV? And you're only sort of good enough for a supporting role in this movie. So why are you here?
I believe she was in Winter Soldier, if I'm not mistaken. Like
she appears.
Isn't she like a big part
movies.
of Winter Soldier?
I don't.
Am I missing that? I might be missing that. I don't know.
I'm
anyway
blocking her character out of my.
I liked Kobe Smulders as Robin. Whatever, Scherbatsky in
Yeah.
How I Met Your Mother. I do not like her as Maria Hill. I do not like Maria Hill. I do not think she should have been in this movie. Moving on. Because if we keep talking about it, I'm going to get annoyed. You won't like me when I'm annoyed about Kobe Smulders.
Oh my gosh. You weren't even right for Ted. Oh gosh.
That's why she's not the mother.
She's the wife.
Anyway, so we get phase 2 of prototype shipped out, whatever that means. But phase 2,
were you like, I know, yeah, were you like, oh, it's so meta, they said phase 2.
Avengers assembled, and we finally get Hawkeye's name. Hawkeye is named.
Oh, Hawkeye is named. I do have a minor complaint about Hawkeye. Okay, this whole movie, we're going to have to do a lot of character talk. It's going to be I think it's going to be a little bit less plot, a little bit more.
Well, there isn't really a plot.
Thoughts on I mean, there's a little bit of a plot. Clint Barton in this movie, he's a supporting character. What are your thoughts?
I like him.
I do too.
Yes, I'm pro Clint Barton. He's like smart and calculating.
I like Clint Barton a lot, and the truth is, I remember prior to this whole project thinking to myself, like, why is Hawkeye in any of these movies? What is his purpose as a character? And then after watching it today, I was like, I want a Hawkeye movie.
He's the smart one.
He's the smart one, and not only that, you know this about me. I'm a huge fan of the Arrow series on the CW. I thought, honestly, after becoming a fan of that and then coming back to Marvel, I was going to be like, gosh, Clint Barton is such a stupid character. Why is Hawkeye in this? But it actually like reinforced how much I like the Archer trope in the superhero realm.
But no, he's
in the superhero genre.
He's great. He's sensible, which
he's
no one else is.
And he has heart.
And you see that from the very beginning in both of those things. One, in that the portal opens, or the portal's about to open, and he says that thing about, it's not happening on our end. And Samuel Jackson's like, what are you talking about? And he goes, doors open from both sides. And none of them had ever thought about that before.
Yeah, they were like, wait a minute, what? Like that the idea that something on the other end could have been like not good.
Yeah, like they never thought about that before. And then he literally says, like, he has heart, and then takes over his heart.
Did you notice, this is something I did not like about Hawkeye in this movie, and this is like a ultra critique. I don't think anybody would ever notice it if I didn't say anything. So in Thor, we see him pick up the bow.
Yep.
But he never fires an arrow, right?
Yep.
And then he's Hawkeye. They've introduced him as, he likes to watch from a distance. He's cold calculating. I think he even has the bow in this scene. And the first projectile he fires is from a gun.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of strange.
I was like, that's Hawkeye.
Yeah.
He's like the bow guy of the Marvel cinematic universe.
I don't really get it, but
do you think there was anything there like that was Loki is like sort of expanding his mind and being like, listen, you can use the bow all you want, but a gun is more effective?
I think absolutely. I think absolutely that's the case. Is it like he's not Hawkeye when he's with Loki? He's just a soldier.
Yeah, but later on he uses the bow in Germany.
Right. I mean, I don't know. That's what he was there.
I guess it's stealthier there.
Yeah.
This is,
Yeah, they didn't really need to be stealthy. They needed to wreck some face.
Yeah.
So we get the whole scene with the portal opens, Loki standing there with the scepter, and he's back. So he's back in Midgard.
Back in Midgard, and he's back with a vengeance.
Destroys the whole S.H.I.E.L.D. headquarters thing, and Sam Jackson has a line that says, "As of right now, this is a level 7. We are at war." And I'm like, 7? That's a 7? That's only a 7?
I know.
Your
I would
whole
have
base
thought
was destroyed. That's a 4,000, bro.
That's
a god come through a portal and destroy your headquarters.
That's a code X.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
you can't get any worse. 7?
Right.
What is a 10? Question: did your version for this next scene with Romanov in the chair, did your version have subtitles?
Yeah.
Mine didn't. So I just
think it
listened
did.
to some Russian being spoken.
Yeah, it had subtitles.
Yeah, mine did not. I watched this on... God, I don't even know. You gonna bleep me out again? I watched this on...
Did you? Is that a thing?
Apparently. It's not actual...
Golly, I cannot tell people that's where you watch this.
Yeah, so
so we've got the chase. Good chase. I like the chase. Good action getting started. Unfortunately, Kobe Smulders is like the lead in this action. I don't know why they couldn't have had just a different Avenger chilling there. I guess we don't. I mean, you could have War Machine there or something.
Not in this movie at all. But then we get introductory scenes for each individual Avenger. So we get Natasha Romanoff.
But they don't feel weird.
No,
they don't feel even out of order. They kind of feel together.
Yeah, no, I didn't say that to say that they were out of order. I was just saying that I didn't even realize it until I read my notes, and I was like, there's a Romanoff scene, and then a Banner scene, and then a Steve scene, and then a Tony scene.
So we start with Romanoff, and of course we know Agent Romanoff is awesome from Iron Man 2, but this, it's been a while since we've seen her, so we get this awesome scene, so good, where she's like in the chair and the guy's like, it reminds me of the scene from The Incredibles where they're in the car, like listening to the police scanner, and they're like going back and forth about the whole thing, and they were like, and he starts monologuing.
Yeah. You're not wrong.
Guy's got the key to destroy the world.
And he starts monologuing.
And then, they bring that up a few times in the movie. But, so she's got the guy monologuing about, like, how could you have ever caught me? And then, oh my gosh, so funny. Phil Coulson calls, like, the henchman.
I asked to
and
speak
like,
to the boss.
You're at, like, 220B Baker Street. We have a F-16.
Yeah, we can level the block before you hit the lobby.
Right.
He puts her on the phone, and she's just like, I'm getting everything I need from this guy. Are you serious right now? And the guy's just like, what do you mean? I'm interrogating you. And she's just like, sweetheart.
She looks at him like, oh, are you kidding? And then she just beats the crap out of him.
Yep.
It's awesome.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. And then she does the thing where I thought she was going to wrap the chain around his neck. And then I was like, that's a bit morbid for this. Like, this is a feel-good superhero movie at the end of the day.
Yeah, and it's also very early in the movie to be killing people.
Right. Like to be strangling somebody. So she wraps the chain around his leg and then drops him down. And you could, like, hear his leg pop.
Yeah.
So not only did I watch this on my Xbox, but when you watch it on the Xbox, you can just plug your headphones into the controller. So I watched it with like my super high quality editing headphones, and it was very, very loud. And
nice.
And I could hear everything.
Nice.
So that was a huge moment for me watching this movie. I was like, oh my god,
for sure,
that guy is in so much pain.
Anyway, so she has to go get the big guy, and she's like, I don't want to talk to Stark. And Phil's like, nope, I got Stark. You get the big guy.
She's like, Stark and I have this relationship. And do they have a bad relationship at this point? I mean, clearly they do, obviously, because she says it. But is that how Iron Man 2 ended? We just watched this. Weren't they still in cahoots at the end of that?
I don't know. I feel like he didn't want to talk to her because she's S.H.I.E.L.D.
And he doesn't qualify for the program.
Yeah.
And then she gets sent, apparently they killed Liv Tyler at some point. She gets sent to deal with Hulk.
They killed her?
Well, I don't know if they killed her, but did you notice, I didn't notice this ever previously because I had never really paid attention to The Incredible Hulk, the movie. But did you realize how much footage they used from The Incredible Hulk in briefings and stuff like that?
A lot.
Yeah, it was all over the place. Like the scene at the Culver University where it was way more prevalent than I thought it was.
I was
because
surprised.
I thought they were kind of trying to brush it under the rug, but it was I thought I saw more scenes from that than I did from the rest of the movies playing in the background.
For sure. And so we get to India, and Bruce Banner's working as an actual doctor and using his science.
I was like, I actually have a note about Bruce Banner as a doctor. It just goes through this whole thing. I'm like, well, that's not Edward Norton. But then I said, whatever, I'll roll with it. Because I can accept that he can turn into a giant green monster, but I can't accept that he can turn into Mark Ruffalo. I feel like that's unfair to him. His whole thing is that he's a shapeshifter, just not necessarily in this way. But whatever, he can just change faces. I'm cool with it.
Yeah, I mean, you just kind of gotta ignore that one.
But he was a mechanical engineer or whatever, and now he's like a medical doctor.
He's not a medical doctor. He's just a general smart person. But I mean, I like that they're finally showing Bruce Banner as a smart person instead of like a helpless idiot.
Yeah, and I didn't see him sleeping once in this movie.
There was no sleeping in Mexican streets.
I was so surprised. I was like, wait, that was your strong point.
Yeah.
You didn't have a weakness, but you had some strengths. It was muscles and sleeping.
Yeah, exactly. And he's naive enough to think that he'd gotten away from S.H.I.E.L.D. and S.H.I.E.L.D. didn't know where he was. Sorry, buddy.
Yeah, no, S.H.I.E.L.D. was like, we've been tracking you this entire time.
Yep. But he agrees to help them fight.
Well, he agrees to search for...
Yeah, he agrees to help out.
The gamma radiation. Did you feel like the whole reveal in this movie is that Hulk is always angry? Did you feel like watching this movie that he was always angry? Or
actually, yeah, I do. I think that Mark Ruffalo did a much better job of seeming like he was always on edge.
Really?
Yeah.
But I don't want... If Hulk is always angry, I want Hulk to be angry, not nervous. Nervous seems like an out of control emotion, where angry seems like maybe not out of control, but like nervous to me is like a calm out of control, where angry is like an upset out of control.
Right, but he's always angry, but he's learned to control his anger. He's mad at what happened to him.
That's the truth.
He says that straight up, and nobody treats him like a person. He doesn't even treat himself like a person.
Correct. Yeah, he always thinks that if anybody wants me, it's because they want the Hulk, and
which is accurate.
Yeah,
but they actually just and Sheila has said that he goes, you're not after the big guy and or the other guy or whatever, and she goes, no, we're after Bruce Banner or whatever she says, but something like that they need him because he's a gamma specialist, not because he's a big monster. So anyway, Bruce Banner signs up to help S.H.I.E.L.D. in some capacity. He's gonna look for the Allspark.
Yeah, he was like, yeah, I'll help you find it. I'm the leader in gamma radiation or whatever. So he does it.
He says that great line, though, about when she asked him to help him find the Tesseract. And he goes, what does S.H.I.E.L.D. want me to do? Eat it?
Yeah, no, I thought that was really funny. Because
Which
he's
would probably work,
learning,
TBH.
yeah, he's like learning the limits of Hulk in that
Hulk
like,
has no limits. He can't die.
right, Hulk can't be defeated. Although, I mean, he is like pounded into submission briefly earlier, or like later on in this movie. And I like that they never addressed the trope that I think they could be addressing, and I hope they don't do this in Ragnarok or the following two films that Hulk is heavily featured in. That Hulk has almost like a time limit. You know what I'm saying?
No.
You don't think Hulk has a time limit? You think he just stays Hulk as long as he needs to?
I think he stays Hulk until he gets knocked out or passes out or whatever.
Right. So that's like I'm glad that they don't have a situation where like
He
like,
just runs
can't
out
turn
of Hulk.
back into Hulk. Right.
Yeah, no, I don't. I mean, I think they'll eventually play that in. And then next, we get Captain America, and we get a we get a redo of that whole post-credit scene, but this time better.
Yeah. Oh,
It's
so
like
good.
the same scene, but with more dialogue.
I love Captain America. I love Captain America. I like this whole scene. I was like, holy crap, this character is so stinking cool.
TBH, I was not sold on Steve during this movie.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
We'll talk about it later when we get to wrap up. But
here's listen, no, because I want to address this right now. I love Captain America. I am obsessed with this character.
okay.
I think he's well played out. He's dynamic. He sticks to his guns. He's cool. And what's cool about this movie, and what I absolutely love about this movie, is that as much as I love Captain America, I love Iron Man and I love Thor. You know, it's not like one of them gets developed better or has a better set of dialogue or anything like that. Like they all get all of this attention and all of this time given to them. And they can all be excellent. Like, you know, it's not like you're distributing points in Madden and you have 100 points to distribute over like 50 stats.
Yeah.
It's like you can make everything the best. You know,
Yeah.
It's almost like cheat codes.
for
like
sure.
This movie is like cheat
For
codes.
Sure. However, I like Captain America. I do. I'm not saying I don't. I'm not saying it's not a great character. But he's a...
What?
Yeah. He doesn't let people change.
He lets
no,
people
he doesn't.
change?
He does not let Tony change for 4 movies, 5 movies, 6 movies. He does
What are you
not.
talking
He does
about?
not let Tony grow as a person. He refuses to acknowledge it.
Him and Tony like have a little bout and then they become
No,
friends
they don't.
in this
No,
movie.
they
like
don't.
twice.
Even at the end of it, they're still fighting.
I mean, they're fundamentally like different heroes. You know, they're set up to be the two sort of clashing
But like,
heroes.
he has no reason at this point to dislike Tony, other than his own like jaded moral compass.
Well, he dislikes Tony because when he went under, you know, he was like, we're going to win the war. And then he comes back and Tony is the merchant of literally the
Yes,
next
but Tony
World
has
War.
given that up by the time that he resurrects. Tony has seen the error of his ways.
Yeah, but it's still Tony's fault.
It's not Tony's fault, though.
I mean, it's still Stark Industries' fault.
None of this is Stark Industries' fault. Loki is not Stark Industries' fault.
Oh, no, not Loki. Yeah, no. But here's the thing. Is like Captain America. Here's my issue. Okay, Captain America is all about, you know, America and the process in this movie. America and the process and, you know, do the whole military by orders and kind of thing. And then he has a few moments where he kind of goes off on his own. But that's like not who he was in Captain America. Like in Captain America, he just decides, hey, I'm going to stop doing this propaganda thing and I'm just going to jump out of this plane and march right up through Hydra's headquarters.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And that's what I'm saying.
And save the 107.
That's the problem I have with this, though, is that now Steve is not that guy anymore. He is Captain America now. He's Mr. Hero.
He is Mr. Hero. And
And I don't like that.
they give him this. So the Chitauri are not like the ideal villain for Captain America to fight. Not because they're, you know, not Nazis or whatever, because they're pretty equivalent to Hydra in that regard, but because they can fly.
Yeah, they can fly.
And he can't.
And he is useless during that fight.
He is not useless during that fight. They give him... Actually, I like how they handle him, where
much
he's
more
able to
useless
call the
than
fight.
everybody else.
But he's able to lead
Yeah.
he's able to lead the team, which I think is... Like, the whole movie... Like, the reason he has so much power is because the whole movie is about how disorganized they are. And then when they put their trust in Captain America to be the leader, to be the captain, and to call the fight, you know, that's when they really all come together as a team and they all play to their strengths. Because if Iron Man was doing what Captain America was doing, it wouldn't have worked. And if Captain America had put on like the Iron Patriot armor, it wouldn't have worked.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And I get what you're saying, but like, if the roles were reversed and for whatever reason Tony had to be in command, Steve wouldn't listen. And that's what I'm talking about.
Well, yeah,
Steve
but-
is pissing me off in this movie because he thinks he's better than everybody else. And he literally is fighting with Tony for no reason the whole time.
I think the reason he feels that way is because, you know, and him and Tony have that bout at the end of it where he's like, we're soldiers, and Tony's like, we are not soldiers. You know, where Captain America feels like I am an exceptional soldier. Like I have experience in battle that these guys don't have. And I think he's wrong in that regard, because they do have experience, like Tony has defeated Obadiah and Hammer at this point.
Right.
And Whiplash. But, Captain America, he's like, I fought Red Skull. I have experience with the Tesseract. I understand why it's so evil. You all aren't understanding why the Tesseract is such a big deal. And nobody's like sort of explaining to him, like we're all on the same page as to how bad the situation is.
But what I'm saying is the whole time, especially for this exposition part, it's like Tony wants to fight the enemy, Steve wants to fight the enemy, and Tony. The whole scene in the helicarrier where he just keeps going after him.
Are you talking about the scene where the Infinity Stone messes everybody up?
Yeah, before that.
Explain a little further. Which scene are you talking about?
Like when it's just Tony, Steve, and Bruce talking, and they're going over the fact that everything seems a little fishy and everything seems a little too nice, that Loki get captured and all that.
I think the fact that he's Captain America, I see what you're saying, and I think the fact that he's Captain America, like he has this military background, is why he's acting this way. Is he's like, we were given orders and we need to follow them, and that was, as far as I know, the World War II way of thinking as a soldier. And he doesn't quite understand.
And that's not even what I'm talking about, though. It's just like he's taking into question everything is Tony's fault. Everything is somehow related to Tony. He keeps doing it, even in the scene with the Infinity Stone. He just keeps doing it. Everything comes back to Tony.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Tony hasn't done anything to Steve.
But Tony does the same thing to Steve. He's always bugging him, and he's like, maybe we shouldn't have taken you off Ice Cap, and maybe blah blah blah. Like, I think Tony's egging him on as much as Cap's egging.
I disagreed. But I'm Team Tony, so
Team Cap.
I've noticed. This is gonna be fun. I can't wait for Civil War. It's gonna be a barn burner episode.
It's literally a Captain America movie. Like you're supposed to cheer.
Yeah, but I don't.
You're like,
Anyway.
Plus, Captain America has the best line in this whole movie. You tell me, what do you think the best line in the whole movie?
I understand that reference.
Oh, I disagree. That's not the best line.
I know.
Although
it was staring me down. I wrote that down.
Oh, that's up there as one of the best lines.
But the best line in this whole movie is when he's talking about where Scarlett Johansson is like, they're literal gods.
Oh yeah,
there's
only one god, man, and he does not dress like that. Anyway, so we get the scene. I'm gonna just run down the plot real quick, so we can keep moving on. Steve with the punching bag, and then he punches the bag out, and then he just picks up another punching bag, and I again had to pause the movie and laugh.
I love the punching bag thing. I think it's great. They're so heavy. You know how heavy a punching bag is?
They're very heavy.
They're like, I can't, like when I punch a punching bag, it doesn't move.
That's wild. Okay, so we get PTSD Steve that's punching the bag. We get this whole scene again, picks up the punching bag, and Nick Fury recruits him to go be with S.H.I.E.L.D. Yay, we're all in the helicarrier now. Oh, sorry, we gotta get Tony.
So we get the scene with Pepper and Tony, and I actually love this scene. It's the first time we get, well, I don't know if it's the first time, but it's the first time I noticed that they used the number 12 in a Avengers movie, or in a Marvel Cinematic Universe movie. Ethan, do you know the significance of the number 12 in film?
No.
This is not just a superhero thing. This is throughout all film. 12 is thought to be typically used for like comic relief. 12 is the largest one syllable number. So it's always gotten this joke in writing as being like the highest one syllable number. We get to use the number 12. I like the number 12. Okay, it's like a thing throughout movies. It's like the Wilhelm scream. You'll always hear 12, and it'll be like around some sort of joke.
I really wish you hadn't told me this, because I'm gonna start listening for the number 12.
Number 12, A113 in any animated movies.
I thought that was just Pixar.
No, it's a lot of Pixar. No, it's a lot of Pixar, but it's actually all animated films, because it's the classroom
at UC Berkeley or whatever
where animation taught. Yeah, at UC or wherever it is. So you see that a lot, and then there's other stuff. But anyway, that's your little fun film fact for the day.
Well, now I know something more, and I hate you for it.
Well, you're welcome.
So everybody's on the helicarrier now. We get full team. Full stock of Avengers. We got all of them. Many Avengers.
I love the way they reveal the helicarrier. I think the acting in this, the chemistry between Mark Ruffalo and Chris Evans is meh. But where they're like, oh, is it a submarine? And then it takes off.
The acting between everybody and Chris Evans is meh, and I think that's intentional.
Do you think it's because he's a man out of time?
I think that Cap's just kind of like awkward, and nobody really wants to talk to him.
And he's not only is he awkward, but he's also like this living legend, quite literally.
And like you can't like. He doesn't get to know anybody, clearly, and He's kind of standoffish.
Yeah. I love the way they did Cap's outfits where like Chris Evans is just wearing like old man clothes.
Like he's definitely still outdated.
I think it's silly.
It's great though.
It's
I love
really
it.
funny.
But yeah, the helicarrier takes off from the water and they're just like, Mark Ruffalo's like, oh, I can't be on a submarine. This is a bad idea. And then the thing starts to take off and he goes, oh, that's even worse.
Yeah.
And that's great. And he wears purple shirts. I love him. I love Mark Ruffalo.
You liked the purple
I love
shirts?
the purple shirt.
I was like, wow, Hulk's wearing a purple shirt. How silly.
I mean,
how fun.
It's better than the stretchy pants.
I thought the stretch pants thing was
it
fun.
was funny, but I think that it's much more subtle. I
think the beating us over the head.
I don't. I feel like it's an Avengers joke and not like a we need to hit you with this joke.
Right. Like in case you were watching this and weren't sure who plays the Hulk. But you do know that the Hulk wears purple shirts.
Well, the Hulk wears purple pants.
Correct.
Not purple shirts. Like, I think they can get away with it. I like it. I like it. I'm a fan.
Who's your favorite Avenger at this point?
At this point? I don't know. It's a great question. They've all got their merits.
That's what I love about the movies. They've all got their merits.
Yeah, like, I did this time around, I really like Thor. I never really liked Thor to begin with because I never watched his movies. So I was just like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
We do get a couple important scenes while they're the Helicarrier. The first one, which is...
By the time they launch the Helicarrier, have they caught Loki? Have we not done that?
No, we have not done that yet.
Okay.
Yeah, because they learn about Stuttgart on the Helicarrier. Anyway, we get two important scenes. One is Nick Fury had said that thing when he and Cap were at the gym, and he was like... Cap was like, oh, I don't think you can find anything that's gonna, surprise me.
Surprise me at this point.
Nick Fury's like, I bet you $10 you're wrong. And then as soon as they get on the Helicarrier, Steve just pulls out $10 and hands it to him and walks away. That was hilarious.
Yeah, I thought that was so good. Do you think... Okay, so I want to address this, and I don't know if you noticed it, but with Nick Fury throughout this entire movie, there's a lot of talk about how he has one eye, or he talks about like his ability to see things or to watch people. And even Tony makes the comment like, how does Nick Fury even see all of these monitors? Did you notice all of the comments about like anytime they talk about Nick Fury, somebody says something about vision, and not even necessarily like a, he's one-sided or bad at vision or whatever, not like addressing like, hey, you've got an eye patch, did you know? But like, did you notice they talk about his eyes a lot? What do you think the relevance of that was? Do you think it's just foreshadowing for the next Captain America where he's got an eye on the whole world and his whole idea of safety is have a gun pointed at everybody?
He's Midgard's Odin.
Or do you think he's Midgard's
he's like
Odin? God
to these people, basically. He's the commander.
You don't think he's more like Idris Elba?
I mean, yes and no. I think he stands for both
the
of those
Watcher.
Characters. In that, like, I think Nick Fury's got something to do with, and I've thought this the whole time I've seen these movies. He knows more than he lets on.
Well, yeah, his secrets have
they
secrets.
say that, and I mean, I think even more than is addressed. Like he's in cahoots.
He is.
Okay,
in cahoots.
so in the, Norse mythology, Odin had to leave his eye at the bottom of the world tree. Well, who's to say that somebody from every realm doesn't have to do that?
I'm so interested in the fact that you brought up Odin and his eye patch because I did not even a little bit make that connection, and that's something that's so obvious. It's like a physical character.
Well, and I think it just could also be to paint him as a kind of sinister character with secretive motives.
Well, I always thought that his eye patch might not be an eye patch. It might be like
and that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm kind of where I was kind of getting with that is because like the whole thing is that Odin can still see out of that eye that's missing. That eye sees everything. That's how he's all knowing. He's the all father.
Anyway, like why is Kobe Smulders even in this movie?
In this movie? Who let her in this door? Who do you know here?
Like it's literally like she walked on set and just put a costume on and just like they were like, oh, did you call her? No, I didn't call her.
Anyway, we get to Germany. We get this whole scene where Loki gets captured way too easily.
This whole movie I love. This scene in Germany, he does get captured easily, but gets captured on purpose. He wants the Avengers to fight each other.
I understand why. I'm just pointing that out because it is then beat over the head over and over and over again in the next 8 scenes.
But the reason he's in Germany is to get iridium. Which, by the way, you can watch Ethan and I hunt for iridium in the Borderlands on Twitch. Whenever you tweeted us to get on Twitch, we'll be happy to go through the lands. Anyway, so they're in Germany, and this is one of the few scenes. You know how maybe you don't experience this on your Facebook feed, but you know how on my Facebook feed, every time I'm scrolling through, they're always like best superhero scenes, and it's literally always the scene with Quicksilver from X-Men: Days of Future Past or whichever one. Where the school's exploding. Do you know the scene I'm talking about? This scene belongs in one of those lists.
Agreed.
It is so good.
Yeah, agreed. Except the plausible deniability here. Loki's just walking around with that scepter. Somebody would have said something.
I disagree. He looks like he fits in. And Loki does a really good job of blending. He also is Loki. So, like, it's something you and I didn't even catch when we did the Thor review, was that, like, Loki intentionally doesn't let, like, Loki intentionally approaches Heimdall knowing that he's going to fail when he speaks to Heimdall because he convinced Thor to go to Jotunheim.
Yeah.
Like, he's the reason that Thor goes to Jotunheim in the first place.
Yeah.
And you and I didn't catch that. We just were like, yeah, Thor is an idiot. He wants to go to Jotunheim.
Yeah, no, I figured that out afterward.
Yeah. I felt like an idiot after we recorded that. But
Same.
But yeah, so Loki's the reason that all happened, and he, like, intentionally lets Heimdall let him feel like an idiot so that everybody else is like, well, Loki, you can't even talk to Heimdall. But boom. So I think Loki, he's master of deception. The only person that can go toe-to-toe with him in any of these movies is Black Widow, which I think is very cool. And I think I have some interior theory that Black Widow is not of Midgard. And I think that that's generally accepted because she's like 150 years old, right?
She's definitely not a normal human.
I think she's
probably from Anaheim.
Yeah. Is it?
I've listened to Norse mythology by Neil Gaiman now, and I still don't know what that realm is called. But
Anaheim.
It's not Anaheim. He said something else, but I don't remember what it is.
Gotcha.
He also pronounces it Jotunheim.
Well, he's British.
He's probably also correct. He seems like he probably did a lot more research.
He's a lot closer to the Norts than we are. The Norse say.
I did like in a classic Tony Stark thing where he makes up nicknames for everybody. He called Loki Reindeer Games, which I thought was hysterical.
I thought that was great. And then we get our first scene with Barton with the bow.
Yep.
Where he's knocking out the dudes, which I thought was great. And then he's got the thing with the eyeball, which was like brutal as can be. I was like, whoa, this is insane.
Yeah, he sticks that thing in that dude's eye.
Yeah, so that was nuts.
Yikes. And I literally have a note written here because I didn't realize they were going to beat me over the head with it. And I said, oh, and Loki just allows himself to be captured. No way, that's not a trap. Parentheses, sarcasm, parentheses.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously Loki goes into this and he's like, I'm going to get the iridium for our Tesseract, and then I am going to unleash the Hulk.
Yep.
Because Loki's so clever.
And they're like,
he's such a good villain.
They're on the plane, and it starts thundering, and Loki's obviously shook. And just like scared of a little lightning.
Whoa. I mean, I jive with what you're saying, and I'm excited to get to that. But in the scene in Germany, we have some great lines we need to talk about.
Okay, we'll talk about that.
Okay, so, Loki gets out there and he's doing the kneel, and then the German man stands up and he's like, I don't know what he says, but then Loki's like, there are no men like me, and then he says, there will always be men like you. I'm literally reciting it to you right now, getting chills.
And then Steve has his line.
He's like, last time I was in Germany and a man was standing over everybody, and
we didn't get along.
We didn't agree. Well. Yeah, which I thought was interesting because I think that's alluding to Hitler, but
no, it's alluding to double Hitler.
To Overlord Mecha Red Skull Hitler. Did you hear that?
Yes.
That's for you. Yeah, so he's alluding to Super Hitler, Red Skull, Agent Smith, and then Steve shows up with Shoot to Thrill. Super excited for
Tony
the
shows
AC/DC
up.
rock.
Shoot to Thrill.
Right.
Not Steve.
Tony shows up with Shoot to Thrill, the AC/DC rock opera that is Iron Man.
Before Tony shows up, I have a note here written that says, "Here we go. S.H.I.E.L.D. about to fire some machine guns into a crowd of people. What's new?"
I noticed the same
but
thing.
But then Tony showed up and stopped that.
Gosh. Yeah, he was like, and here we go again.
Yep.
Firing guns into crowds.
So we get a really anticlimactic fight scene. Loki gets captured.
Loki gets captured real easily. His horns go away. They get the scepter. They're moving forward. They're studying gamma radiation. Interestingly enough, do you think that they think the Infinity Stone is just part of the Tesseract thing, or do you think why do you think that was so glossed over in this movie?
Because the concept hadn't been introduced yet.
But they had planned that out.
Yes, but you only know it's called an Infinity Stone because of Guardians of the Galaxy.
I think even past that is the only reason we know. Well, no, it's the post-credit scene in this one that reveals it.
Is it?
Thanos is in it.
Yes, but I don't think Infinity Stone is said until Guardians.
Correct. Yeah. Thanos is the collector of the Infinity Gauntlet. Yeah. So if you know who Thanos is, then you know. Yeah. That's what's coming up. But it is not revealed that isn't. I don't think yet has been revealed that is an Infinity Stone. It's kind of like the Tom Riddle's diary.
Yeah, I was gonna say it happens afterward. He was already there. Oh, you already knocked one out. Cool.
Right. Well done. Yeah, I thought it was weird that Loki didn't use a scepter when they fought the Frost Giants in Jotunheim. So I thought it was weird that Thor wasn't like, what's that scepter you got there, brother?
I don't think Thor is in any way surprised by Loki anymore. I think he's just kind of like, yep, all right, this is another thing we're doing. Thank you.
Come home, brother.
Yep. Oh man, that line, they're like, what, are you scared of a little lightning? And he goes, I'm not overly fond of what follows.
Yeah. And then we have Thor back. Oh man, Thor's introduction in this movie is good.
Yeah, he just flies into the plane.
Yeah, I love that. I love the confrontation he has with Loki back on the Pride Rock of...
Yeah, and then Tony comes down, they fight.
But I want to talk about that confrontation real quick, where they're having this real elegant speech, and he's like, you need to come home, brother. You need to... the All-Father misses you, and I miss you, and yada, yada, yada. And I thought that was really good. I thought that, the chemistry that they had throughout Thor was really good, and I thought that it picked up really well in this movie. And I think you can gloss over it if you're not paying attention. You can miss it, like the sort of conversation that those two are having and the trouble that's causing Thor. But I think it's something that if you pay attention to, really improves the experience in this movie. For sure.
They have excellent chemistry together. They feel like battling siblings. I mean, they did a really good job of this.
Yeah. And then Tony shows up.
And then they fight, and Loki's they're like, ooh, hit him. Yeah, I'm just going to stand here. It's cool. I'm not going to run away. We're good. I think
if you were concerned whether or not he was captured on purpose before, now.
Right.
That he was captured on purpose.
My whole thing is and I get it that everybody knows, but nobody's saying it. But you guys should really be more aware of that.
Right. Like this guy, you all fought in the woods for a solid 4 minutes of movie time. And this dude just literally sat there while you did that.
Well, I mean, 4 minutes of movie fight time is 12 seconds.
Yeah.
And I'll get to that later. So, I actually have a complaint about that later in my notes.
Well, there's a couple things that happen in this scene, in this fight. I think it's a good fight where we get, Cap fights Thor and Iron Man. Iron Man and Thor have their fight. But, this is like a collaboration movie where everybody's coming together, and you get this scene where Thor, hits Tony with the lightning, and Jarvis is like, power upgraded to 400%. And I had this complaint the day I saw this movie so naively 5 years ago, where I was like, that was it? 5 years?
Yeah.
Gosh, that's so recent.
Yeah.
But I had this complaint then where I was like, why did that never show back up? This is a teamwork movie, and we just learned that these two have this awesome joint skill.
I agree with
and
that.
then it literally happens again moments later, where Thor hits Cap's hammer, or Thor hits Cap's shield with the hammer, and it levels part of the forest, with the shockwave. And it's like, why couldn't you have used that to destroy a bunch of Chitauri?
Agreed. But
there was these two, go from fighting to allies in this scene. Well, and this could have
even
been...
in that fight later, they all fight very individually, but as a team.
Well, they've got kind of squadrons.
No, they've got their own individual jobs, basically.
Oh, yeah. Cap calls it, and then everybody kind of goes and does their
right.
thing.
And so there was they didn't leave any space for that.
Yeah, I felt like there was a missed opportunity.
I agree 100%.
And then it doesn't come back
counterproductive.
Later,
No, it's counterproductive to the whole we're a team thing.
Right. But I like the fight scene altogether. I think it's cool. I think it's nice to have the fight scene in the forest. Very reminiscent of The Force Awakens. Just so good.
Yeah.
And
and so this is where we really start to figure out that these guys are on to S.H.I.E.L.D. At least Tony and Bruce are on to S.H.I.E.L.D. And the fact that S.H.I.E.L.D. is not really what they seem to be.
Correct.
Because they start questioning S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, they start asking questions, which is sort of counterproductive to the mission. I think, S.H.I.E.L.D. wants them to accept, hey, we brought you here to listen to our orders so that we can take care of everything. And we're learning that S.H.I.E.L.D. doesn't have it all figured out. And these guys are all independent heroes. And you're asking them to team up,
right.
and not only team up but follow
right.
orders. So it's and I guess that's kind of the moral at the end is S.H.I.E.L.D. can't control these guys, but they can control each other.
Yeah, but S.H.I.E.L.D. is not necessarily the good guy that they try to make themselves out to be, and Tony at least realizes that from this point.
Right, he's I'm not just going to blindly accept that these people that want us to fight the oncoming storm are the good guys. I will fight the oncoming storm, but not because these guys told me to.
Right.
Because
and he says
that is my duty.
Even
as
his
a hero.
secrets have secrets.
Right. And he's got
Yeah, we do get one great thing in here, in that Tony is really making an effort to make Bruce Banner feel like a person.
Yeah. He's really trying. He's really taking an inclusive effort with Bruce Banner.
Right, because he's fascinated by Bruce Banner and the fact that he's this brilliant scientist and, can't control himself, basically. So Tony's trying to help him, make him feel like a person, because he doesn't even treat himself like a person.
Right. And Tony's super interested. And we've seen sort of speckled into, Tony is not only a great superhero, like Iron Man is a great superhero and a great hero and force for good, but Tony is the ultimate schmoozer.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Tony can, he is better at the social part of being a person
than
Right, and
anyone
with
else.
the
in this
exception
whole
of Steve
group.
Rogers, he can make anybody like him.
Right, and that's why Steve's such an enigma for him. Is like, this Steve is like, Steve can't be schmoozed. He can't be sold.
No, not on anything.
Yeah.
And we get
If it's
get
not-
some weird development from Thor out of this. Like, just randomly. When Thor's talking to Coulson, he's just like, Earth was better without the gods.
Yeah, we come here. We say we are more advanced than you, but we battle like Bill Schneip.
Bill Schneip.
Bill Schneip. That's
He gets that great line, like, big, huge, disgusting antlers.
scaly.
You don't have those? Oh, they're repulsive. And Coulson's
Yeah.
just like, what? What is a Bill Schneip? But that's a big development for Thor. Thor's like, we came and screwed everything up.
Right, like we are not necessarily a force for improvement here. And obviously Thor is battling with the fact that, like, oh crap, Loki is, the villain again.
Yeah.
Like every time I come here, he comes here and ruins everything. And you got your moment where Coulson explains to Thor why Natalie Portman is not in this movie.
Yep. She gets moved to the middle of nowhere.
So you're welcome.
They use the phrase means to a lot more than it happens in normal conversation. Like, everybody keeps saying, oh, he means to do this. He means to step on us. He means to release the Hulk. Like, I've never said that in my life.
Yeah, I did. Now I didn't notice that, but now that you mentioned it.
By the time I wrote this note, I counted 4 times.
Well, I think you hear that a lot from Thor, I think,
but
because that's kind of
Thor
like
didn't
the
say it at any
speech.
point.
Right.
Nick Fury
right.
said it. Black Widow said it. I think Tony said it, and somebody else.
Okay, Cubby Smolder's second worst thing in this movie. Well, actually, worst thing in this movie. Second worst thing in this movie is Scarlett Johansson saying, "I got red in my ledger."
Oh my god!
I was
No
like,
commitment to that line.
none whatsoever. This whole and you're supposed to be like the super spy, and you're like, I killed all these people, and I want to get past that.
Her whole motive
but,
is not very
like,
believable.
Yeah, no, but. And just the way she says, I got red in my ledger, I want to wipe it out. What does that even, what, for one thing, me, 5 years ago when I first saw this movie, was 19 years old, did not know what a ledger was. And I'm a pretty well-educated person, and I'm sure you're listening to me like, how on earth do you not know what a ledger is? But listen, Ethan, it's not just a thing I think everyone knows.
Yeah,
okay?
no, I agree with
Like, I still am not sure I know what a ledger is.
Red implies a balance less than 0.
So she's trying to save as many people as she's killed, is what I'm hearing
Yes.
here. So we've got the scene with Black Widow and Loki, and she like triple agents him as hard as he's triple agenting her.
Yeah, and he still wins.
He reveals
He knows everything about
I'm trying to release
Yeah.
the Hulk, and he reveals I'm trying to release the Hulk, and she figures it out. And he's kind of surprised she figured
he's
it out.
not.
He
not.
gets like a genuine look of shock
I
on his
don't
face,
think
but
he does. It's not genuine. I don't think he's surprised at all. I think he wanted her to find out.
he wanted her to figure it out.
Because
and,
that just makes it happening so much better because he knows it's going to happen anyway.
Right. He knows that at this point I've gotten y'all too far. Like even if you figure out what my play is, I'm still going to do it.
Exactly.
Like even you finding out will make it happen
right,
faster.
exactly. Because they're bickering and arguing and the scepter is listening.
But it functions kind of like a Horcrux in Harry Potter, and like whoever it's around or near is sort of more upset or more irritable.
A dick.
And right, and because everybody's in that room and the tensions are
and
getting
you get
so
that
high,
scene
and
where
they've
like
got,
Banner doesn't even know he's holding it.
well, before that scene is brilliant. It's so acted, but it's brilliant the way it's written, and that like everybody's just bouncing off each other and going back and forth, and then you can kind of tell everybody's getting kind of delusional. And there's one moment where you can really tell it's supposed to be real delusional.
Camera shifts, and you get that line of Thor being like, "You humans,
You people are so
puny and
petty
and tiny."
Yeah, that's when you know that like, okay, nobody's in their right mind in this scene. You got Tony and Captain America like back and forth, like put on the suit, let's go a few rounds. Like, they would never say that to each other.
They do that take so many times because when the thing finally sets off. They were sitting back and forth. Yeah, put on the suit. Oh yeah, I'll put on the suit. Put on the suit. Yeah, I'll put on the suit. And then boom, explosion. And Steve goes, "Put on the suit." And Tony's like,
"Yeah,
yep.
I'm on it."
They use that like explosion take like 2 or 3 more times in this movie, and it's great every time. It makes me laugh every time.
Yeah, and the I love the plane pulling up and Barton doing the like he aims it and then he just turns and shoots it and it like the wind catches it. I thought that was so cool. I know I don't know anything about bow physics or if that's how it would have worked or if whatever, but I can tell you as a fan and as a viewer, I'm totally sold.
Yeah,
It was
exactly.
awesome.
It was great.
Like
It was very, very cool.
It was great.
And he has a lot of those shots where it's like the no look kind of shot.
Yeah.
And do you think he has like a superpower, or do you think he's
Yeah, absolutely.
just that good of an archer? So you think he's got some metahuman and mutant abilities?
Same kind of thing with like Daredevil, I think.
So he's blind?
No, he's deaf.
He's
no,
deaf?
he is
Who's
deaf.
deaf?
Hawkeye. Clint Barton.
Clint Barton
That's a
is
thing.
deaf?
Yeah.
Hold the
Yeah,
phone.
Hawkeye is
what?
deaf.
No,
Yes, he
he's
is.
not. That is
No,
impossible.
it is. That's a thing.
He could what? No, he's
he
not.
is.
He uses a comm to talk to Tony
He is
and like
literally
calls out patterns.
He's literally deaf. That is a thing. It's in all the comics. It's in the later movies.
There's no.
He is deaf. It is a thing. I promise you. He's got super sight. I'm pretty sure that's the thing.
I'm
telling you.
Get out. Get out of town. But in the movies, he's not deaf. There's no way he's deaf. He's calling out patterns and stuff.
I mean, he can whatever. He can.
And in like in Thor, he's
Yeah, well, Matt Murdock can see, even though he's blind.
I think it's different.
Whatever. I don't know. I think he has some kind of elevated sense. Maybe not a superpower necessarily, but some kind of elevated sense that makes him better at shooting things.
He's definitely got good vision.
Yeah.
He's definitely, very good at seeing.
Yes, exactly.
He'd probably be a Hufflepuff.
What?
He's a great finder.
Anyway, so we get this whole big interplane fight scene, which is tight. It's
Yeah.
big old thing. Everybody's got their own little fights they're going through. Thor just puts his hand out. Mjolnir comes from God knows where to get to him.
Oh my gosh, the Thor Hulk fight. When Thor gets Mjolnir and he smacks him across the face with it.
What I just want to know is
man.
Mjolnir was probably sitting in that room where like they were all talking in the lab, and I feel like it just probably busted through like 4 or 5 flight decks and probably like killed somebody on the way to get to him.
Yeah, I've always wondered about that. Like Mjolnir's got a mind of its own.
It definitely does
does
not
it-
fly through doors.
What do you mean it
I'm
doesn't
pretty
fly
sure
through doors?
it takes the straightest path to get to.
Oh, I definitely agree with that. It takes the straightest path because it knocks all those things over. Gosh, I loved that scene where they were where Thor and Hulk are fighting, and this is the second time we've seen Thor and Hulk fight, right? Because the lightning hits him in the Incredible Hulk, and now we've got them fighting on the Helicarrier, and gosh, you'd have to pay me to figure it out later in movies, but I know it comes in Ragnarok.
I mean, we'll see.
Right.
Yeah, we'll see what
I
happens.
mean, at least set up that they fight in Ragnarok. Does this fight to you show you how strong Thor is, or how strong Hulk is? Like, whose real strength do you think is being revealed here?
Thor's.
So you think it is given that Hulk
Well, I think it's revealed
that
later.
powerful.
Maybe not given, but it's revealed later because he just literally stops that big whale thing.
Right. I mean, that's awesome.
Literally just puts his hand up and stops it.
Right. And they fight together against one of those later on too.
Yeah. But like, I think that's the thing with it. Thor's strength is the Hulk is the immovable object.
Right. Huh. I would say I agree, but I think that's interesting because Thor is like the god of lightning. And we saw in Thor him just beat the crap out of a bunch of frost giants and fly through a giant frost giant dog thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on. We've got the...
So we get Loki traps Thor into the cave, or not cave, into the cage using the decoy thing, and then he kills Phil Coulson using the decoy thing. And Coulson was mad. He was like, this is personal now. And he pulls up and he's just like, I've got this gun. I don't know what this gun does. You want to find out what this gun does?
We created it when you brought the destroyer.
Yeah, and then Loki's now like, no, I'm just going to stab you, bro.
Yeah, gets him good.
And then Coulson like is about to die, and he's talking to Loki again, and just blasts him and goes, "Oh, that's what this thing does."
Yeah, I was kind of disappointed that like he does that, and it really like outside of like blasting Loki through a wall, really doesn't do much to hurt him,
not
like
at
at all. Like the destroyer is supposed to be able to kill all the frost giants, or really anybody trying to steal from Odin's, the crown jewel of Odin's office or whatever, and that's supposed to be a weapon designed on the destroyer, and it's effective, but it doesn't stop him at all.
Just temporarily.
But
he gets away.
Right.
Thor's off the plane. Hulk is off the plane. It's just Coulson is dying, and Nick Fury comes up to him, and Coulson is just like, this was never going to work. They didn't have something to, and dies. No. He says, they did not have something to, and then dies. And he was going to say, avenge.
Oh, is that what it was?
I'm guaranteeing you. That's what it's supposed to be.
I don't know, man. But now they do have something to avenge. This is, I guess they avenge Phil Coulson, and then he returns.
So then Fury gives him the thing with the cards, even though the cards are fake, and they're all like, yeah, let's get after him. Let's get it for Coulson, man.
Sort of.
I mean, definitely united them.
At this point, it pisses Tony off. What it does is causes them to be like, you know what, we're just going to do this on our own. I don't care if it's...
Yeah, screw S.H.I.E.L.D.
If S.H.I.E.L.D.'s got this... Right, the screw S.H.I.E.L.D., all they ever did was kill our friend. And get us onto this helicarrier.
Yep. But we get a little bit of side story about what's happening to everybody else now. And Thor's back where he loves to be, in the middle of effing nowhere.
Yep.
In the middle of nowhere. So we get Hawkeye back. And He's like, how did you get me out of it? And she goes, cognitive recalibration. And he's like, what? She goes, I hit you really hard.
Yeah, boo. Boo. I'm not a fan.
I mean,
not a fan that...
she's not the best acted part.
I am not a fan, even a little bit, that what can get him back to normal is a swift hit to the face with a pole. Like, I get that they had to, and they need Barton on their side, and, like, you know, it's a sort of a plot point. But, like, that's all it takes? I don't think so. I don't think so. Also, why is Kobe Smulders in this movie? Why does she say I got red in my ledger? And why are we supposed to think that there's any sort of good chemistry between Jeremy Renner and
They haven't...
Scarlett Johansson in this movie?
There's Budapest.
Right, I get that there's Budapest, but like the on-screen chemistry between these two characters is like, not only is it not present, it's like uncomfortable.
It's Scarlett Johansson. It's fault. She's bad at acting. Long story short, and a lot of talking later, they finally figure out that they're going after Stark Tower.
Yeah.
It took them long enough.
Tony says the thing where he was like, Loki's cocky. Loki wants
his name and lights on the skyline.
Parades and everything. And then he's like, oh,
bitch.
Gosh. He's coming after Stark Tower. And
we get a great little montage.
Loki's already there.
Where like Tony's working on the suit and Thor can pick up the hammer again and the Hulk has pants. And it's just a great little like 30-second montage of them all getting ready, getting suited up. Let's go.
Yeah. What'd you think of Cap being like suit up?
I mean...
What do you think of that?
It like, they just keep using that joke. Or not joke, they just keep using that line.
Where it's like, you know what? We're going to do the superhero thing and we're just going to...
But like... I think it was all to set up the time where Tony tells the Hulk to suit up.
I think that's sort of correct. Because they even had that line earlier in the movie where Tony and Bruce are talking and he's like, why don't you suit up with us? And he's like, I don't get a suit of armor.
Exposed like a nerve.
Exposed, yeah. I don't think Hulk is in pain when it's happening.
I have no idea.
I guess that's what we're learning there. I've never hulked out
before. It's probably terrifying to be the Hulk.
It's probably freaking awesome.
We get the two cockiest people in the whole world going head to head right here over drinks. It's a great scene where Tony and Loki are just like back and forth.
Yeah, and he's like, I have an army, and he's like, we have a Hulk.
Yeah, and he just keeps saying, no, I'm threatening you. It's very like Jack Sparrow.
The Avengers. Yeah. I agree. It's very Jack Sparrow of him. I've got a jar of dirt.
Exactly. It's a very charismatic Jack Sparrow moment for Tony, and he's just like he's stalling. He's
also using Tony's other strength, like the Robert Downey Jr.'s character's other strength, in that you get Iron Man, which is a great superhero, but you also get Tony Stark, who is like the great negotiator. He's the Elon Musk of this world.
But he tries to take Tony over with the scepter, and it doesn't work.
Do you think Tony knew it wasn't going to work?
I don't think Tony has any idea. Why do you think it doesn't work though?
Because Tony doesn't have a heart.
Is that supposed to be like
he doesn't?
Is that supposed to be something, or is it just like a literal like his heart is not functioning?
His heart is not functioning. Like earlier in the movie, the reason he takes Barton is because he says you have.
Right,
a heart.
I know that, and that's what I'm saying. Is he trying to say like he doesn't have heart, or he like literally doesn't have a heart?
I think he's literally like I think Tony has heart. The trait does not. Yeah,
that's
have
what I thought was interesting. Like because they're I don't know if they were trying to say like he is heartless, or if he's literally does not possess a heart.
I think it's literally he does not possess a heart. And does Tony possess a heart? I think he does. Yeah, because there's shrapnel trying to get into his heart.
Yeah, so I thought that was interesting.
But anyway, doesn't work on him.
And yeah, the portal opens. We get the Chitauri finally.
Cool scene.
It is. It is a cool scene. They just like ride out of the portal.
Yeah. The whole battle at the end of this movie is awesome. Yeah.
But there's definitely some highlight moments as far as characters go. Thor and Loki have a great scene together where they're, I guess, fighting, you could call it. But because when Thor first gets there, he starts talking to Loki, and Loki almost looks remorseful. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Thor tries to convince him that what he did was wrong, and he thinks that Loki is like coming around, and he just stabs Thor.
Stabs him. This is actually something I thought was super duper cool. I think it's imagery from Iron Man 2. Let me know if you agree. Where they make all of them bleed.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Like the imagery from Iron Man 2, Whiplash, is like when you make
especially Thor. Thor needs to bleed.
Like Thor's a god, and Loki stabs him, and the dagger comes out.
He's just a regular demi guy,
right? Even within Tony's helmet, you see him bleeding later on. You see Cap has got, I think his armor, or not his armor, but his like suit rips, and he's bleeding. Jeremy Renner's bleeding.
Scarlett Johansson has red in her ledger.
God.
Yeah, but no, great acting though, like sub acting by Tom Hiddleston there, where he's like Tom acting Hiddleston, as acting.
Tom Hiddleston, I think is got to earn the almost the title role in this movie. Like this movie's not about the villain in any way. This movie is about the heroes, and it's it's an opportunity for them to all come together. And every time another one's on screen, you're happier.
But just that that pretending to be pretending. Oh,
but
so good.
his I think he deserves the crown for the acting.
Oh, absolutely.
This is like. It's like you were a supporting character in the second least successful film in this franchise so far.
But I mean, that's the thing.
You are going to be the villain.
He's the only one that really needs to act at this point, though.
Right. Like everybody else has got like a real.
Well, that character. And they base their character on kind of what works for those people.
Right.
Like what works for the actors. Whereas, I mean, and I'm not saying that. I mean, obviously, Tom Hiddleston is not a villain. He's known for being like a Hollywood good guy.
What is Tom Hiddleston a good guy in?
No, like
he's
in
literally
in real
Jaguar
life,
commercials as Loki.
Saying, like in real life, like Tom Hiddleston himself.
Oh, yeah.
Like he is known for being Mr. like stand-up guy, the Gotham's White Knight.
Right. He'll go to children's hospitals dressed as
right,
Loki.
Exactly. And like he's just a super nice guy, and so like he's the one I think that's acting the most. Like Robert Downey Jr. is just being Robert Downey Jr.
Robert Downey Jr. is being Elon Musk.
But he's not really acting.
I think that's what's so convincing about him, because I don't think he's really like that in real life.
But every character
and
he plays is like that.
You know who's really not like that? Well, maybe a little bit like that. I mean, like sort of. Is Mark Ruffalo. Mark Ruffalo outside of the series is like hardly an actor anymore. He's like, I mean, he does like indie films and he's an activist. And
we got another one of those explosion takes at this point. When Steve's talking to the cop and he's telling him to do everything, like, I need you to set up a perimeter at 37th and do all this stuff. And the cop's like, why would I take orders from you? And then just an explosion goes off and the cop gets on the horn and does exactly what Steve says.
Yeah, he says exactly what he said. And I love Steve in this scene. I think he really gets an opportunity to show off his leadership, the captain part of his...
Oh, this is one of Steve's best scenes, where like he gives off all the orders and everything, and then he's telling each individual Avenger what to do, and he gets to the end and he's just like, Hulk, smash.
Before that, we get the reveal. I know we already mentioned it, but the reveal that...
Oh yeah, how do you
Banner
stay like that? Yeah.
How do you... Might be a good time for you to get angry. That's my secret,
I'm
Cap.
always angry.
I'm always angry.
So I think we're about 30 minutes into this fight scene at this point, and I wrote down a note that says, I think this is probably the longest fight scene ever in a movie.
Yeah, but it
is.
Enjoyable.
I'm not complaining, but it was literally like 45 minutes long.
So I don't want to harp too much. I mean, I so much enjoyed this fight scene, but there's a couple of weird things that go on in it. They all get really tired, which I guess is to show you how long it's been going on. To me, it felt like they got tired kind of quick. A couple of things I want to touch on. Thor's bottleneck use of like the lightning to stop them. That is the most effective thing you got going for you.
Just do more of that.
Like whatever, whatever else you've got, just don't do. Just keep doing this.
Did you notice, speaking of the bottlenecking and the flying things, did you notice that the things that Chitauri are flying on, they make pod racer noises?
I did. Yeah,
they're flying by and it's like... Now it's just like, Seboba. But yeah, there's some shining moments in that fight scene. We've covered a bunch of them. There's the one where Thor punches the Hulk. There's the one where Hulk punches Thor and just like knocks him out after the fight is over. It's great.
And then there's the sort of everybody gets to be a hero moments where you've got... I'm just going to run through them real quick. Scarlett Johansson jumps off the shield to fly the Chitauri ship, which I thought was pretty cool. And then she like one-on-one fights against Loki. Hawkeye has got his awesome, like they're bad at banking, and then he fires an arrow at Loki and Loki catches it.
Still blows up in his face.
But then it blows up. Yeah, which I thought was super good. Like, in order to beat Loki, you've got to think a step ahead of him. And I think Hawkeye is good at doing that. And I think ScarJo's good at doing that.
Oh, and then we get the line where Hulk, the scene where Hulk just picks Loki up and beats the ever-loving crap out of him.
And that downs Loki for the rest of the
And he literally just says, puny God, and walks away.
It's the only Hulk line we get from him in the movie.
Nick Fury, I thought was interesting. Nick Fury refuses to nuke Manhattan. That is very not S.H.I.E.L.D. of him. Firing guns into Manhattan would be a very S.H.I.E.L.D. thing to do.
Well, U.S. government fires guns into Manhattan. S.H.I.E.L.D. is, I guess, I mean, they're not, privatized, but they don't necessarily have the same thoughts as like a U.S. military group. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're not like the Army. The Army is all about shooting 50 cals in Manhattan. They've done it before.
Saying.
Real quick. Hulk has that line where he's like, last time I was in Manhattan, I leveled part of Harlem. And then there's Captain America's sort of hero moment is when he saves the people in I guess it's like a lobby of a building where like the Chitauri are like holding people hostage instead of just firing into the crowd. Thought that was
Why did the Chitauri granades look like vapes?
Oh, because they vape.
I mean, he literally threw it on the ground. I'm like, that's a vape. My roommate has a vape that looks exactly like that.
Or maybe your roommate's a Chitauri. Have you ever thought about that?
I am now.
something to consider.
But S.H.I.E.L.D. still wants to nuke Manhattan, and this is how we get Tony's like hero moment.
Tony's hero moment. Yep.
Tony sacrifices himself.
Why didn't they just fire the nuke into the portal?
Whomst. S.H.I.E.L.D's not smart enough for that. S.H.I.E.L.D. is the U.S. government.
That seems like the obvious.
They're going to nuke
here.
Manhattan.
Right. They're ready to nuke Manhattan
because they think they're going to destroy the portal in the
obviously
process and everything. Like destroying the shooting the nuke into the portal would not have closed the portal.
It doesn't.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
It's not what closes the portal.
So that's where their thing lies. But he does that thing where he like turns the nuke and like skates over the building. That was really cool.
Dude, that whole thing with Tony. Oh my gosh. I shed.
And this is what
tears.
I was talking about earlier. Is that movie time does not equal real time, in that he says that the nuke is going to blow up in less than a minute, but he carries it up for literally 5 minutes. It's a long time.
I think
dude.
they matched the time.
It is
up
a
pretty
long
well.
time. It may just feel like it, but it was a long time.
A minute's a long time.
It was more than a minute. But Tony gets the nuke in the portal and sacrifices himself,
and he's ready to die.
Yep.
He's
and
call
Steve
Pepper the last
still
time.
won't believe him, pissing me off. No,
I think Steve
and the very next time they meet up, Steve's still in his case about being this like arrogant bastard.
No,
pretty sure.
This is Tony. This is Tony sacrificing himself literally in the exact same way that
Steve still doesn't care.
Sacrificing himself to like save the world from the dangers of the Tesseract is like could not be more similar. Could not be more mirrored.
I mean, I agree with that, but like Steve still doesn't care. The issue I have is the Chitauri just die.
Yeah, I don't get that. I mean, this isn't.
They're not robots.
They didn't take the Trade Federation gunship
robots.
away.
Like,
you know what I'm saying?
They're organic beings.
They should
be fine. I guess they're a hive mind.
I felt like maybe there was a deleted scene or something where they explained that, but to me that was like, what?
I get
like,
they could have just had to killed all the rest of them off. There were like 12 left, but
but it was still just
they just died. It doesn't make any sense. I have an issue with it. If they were robots, I could understand, but they're not. They're organic beings that bleed. Yeah. Anyway, whatever. But Tony falls through the portal last second, and he gets saved by the Hulk. And then the Hulk yells him back to life, like scares him back to life.
Everything about it. Then we get the shawarma thing.
Can we get shawarma afterward? I really want shawarma. I really just want to not fight this dude anymore.
I don't know what that is, but
and
I want it.
Loki wakes back up, and the entire Avengers team is just staring at him.
Yeah, and they're ready to take him out. Ready to take him to church. And he's like, if it's all the same to you, I like that drink now.
And he's like, I give up. I win, or I lose, whatever, for now. And he goes back to Asgard to answer for his crimes.
Yep. But then, so we've got the fallout, and then one thing we haven't talked about this entire time is Nick Fury and the council. What do you think of this council?
They're just like, he says it himself, I respect the decision of the council, but that it's a stupid ass decision.
Yeah, I think the whole idea of the council is
they're the bad guys.
Yeah, we've been seeing this recurring theme that the U.S. government or the governments of the world, are like bad guys.
Is the bad guys.
The council is the bad guys. So we've got the wind down. We've got Nick Fury talking about the Avengers will be here if we need them. They all come together at the end in, I guess, Central Park or whatever. And Tony pulls up and, oh my God. Audi just gives Tony Stark an R8. Like a normal production, not like a normal production car, but like a production supercar. Yeah. Acura gives Tony a concept car that'll never be.
They make those.
Except for that one.
Pretty sure.
That is, no. If you were going to give Tony like the cool Acura, he would drive an NSX and it would be sweet. But he didn't drive an NSX. Okay, so.
But Tony and Bruce go off together. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, which is weird because our next vision of Tony, no Bruce,
but I guess they were leaning toward, because Tony and Bruce team up in the comics to create Ultron.
And in Age of Ultron.
Is it both of them?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why I think that they were starting with that kind of thing.
That there's going to be a relationship between these two characters.
Gonna have something to do with each other.
And Loki and Thor go back together with the power of the Tesseract, which can now, like, they don't need the Bifrost anymore because they have the Tesseract back. So, I can travel between realms again.
He can come visit Jane Foster anytime he wants, probably.
Yep. Fun fact about Jane Foster, she is currently Thor in the comics.
Really? That's cool.
Yep. Yeah, that's neat. She wields Mjolnir. Meow meow.
So
what else?
Then we get a post-credit scene.
Then we get a post-credit scene. I thought, remembering this movie, there was just the shawarma scene. Maybe it's because I didn't know what Thanos was at the time, but Thanos in the post-credit scene is our first glimpse at they didn't even know that Guardians of the Galaxy was going to succeed at this point, and Thanos is a big character in that.
I mean, I think they were committed to making whatever they were going to make at this point.
Right. They were like, you know what? Even if it doesn't work, we're going to do it. Right. So Thanos is in the post-credit scene, and we get the first glimpse at the race for the Infinity Gauntlet, just in that Thanos is there.
but it means nothing currently. It was super confusing.
Yeah, not really anything. I mean, I remember seeing that and be like, who?
Who's this red guy?
Whatever. Right. He's kind of purple,
Whatever.
isn't
I don't know. Sure, he's purple.
he? Yeah, we'll go with purple. And then there's the next post-credit scene where they're just eating the shawarma. Thought that was good. You know, it's a good way to wrap up phase 1. Everybody takes a day off.
Yep.
Let's go eat the
Phase
shawarma.
1, Avengers Assembled, is done.
Ethan, what do you think?
I thought this was a great movie. It was so good.
So good.
It was a feel good movie. There wasn't really a whole lot of plot, but there also wasn't like not plot. It was satisfying.
It was very
satisfying.
well executed. I really enjoyed. I very much enjoyed watching it the whole time. You know, outside of the minor complaints, the red in my ledger thing, Kobe Smulders, which like Kobe, why were you in this movie?
I don't.
Did you know?
Why is she in this movie? We're going to get a lot of comments on this, and people are going to be like, you talked about how bad Kobe Smulders was a lot, and I'm going to say, yes, listener, we did. You're exactly right.
But do you know why
because
we
it's
did?
terrible.
Because we had to.
Why? Why are you in this movie? Rethink your life. Go back in time. Undo yourself. Thank you.
But I really like the movie. I think that we got to do a couple power rankings here, and we've got to do a breakfast meal. We'll start with the breakfast. Ethan, if you were to rate this on a scale of breakfast,
it's going to be one of those breakfasts from Cracker Barrel, right? That comes with like everythment. It's like the like Papa's Fat Boy combo or whatever. That just like they like insult you for ordering it. One of those meals. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
I know exactly
it comes
what you're
with
talking
like
about.
pancakes and a steak and apples and, you know, it's a slice of tomatoes and 3 biscuits and 2 pieces of toast and hash browns and 5 eggs. Like, you got a lot of stuff going on. You got a lot of individual flavors, but they're all done really well.
They are all
but it's
done
like
really
you eat it and you're like, God, I am full. I do not want to eat another breakfast for a minute.
Yeah, I almost need to take a break. That being said, I will eat breakfast again next week.
Yes.
But yeah, you almost want to go get shawarma afterwards. You know,
I don't want to eat anymore. I don't want to eat anymore.
You know, I mean, this is Christmas morning at Grandma's house, eating the sourdough Santa.
You really want to get your money's worth out of that breakfast buffet.
Yeah. What?
Like I'm just that kind of feeling.
Yeah. I mean, this is not Thanksgiving at Denny's. No. You know what I'm saying? This is not sad. This is a happy. It's a good breakfast.
One of those meals you eat from. Where you're like, man, I got a big day. I don't know when I'm going to be able to eat again.
But then your body reminds you that you need constant fueling, but like, and you will eat again probably.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying. But like, you know, you're not going to really have time. You got a bunch of stuff going on between now and like 4 p.m.
This is the opposite of Thanksgiving Day breakfast,
where you don't eat at all and you starve until 2 p.m.
And then you
eat a lot of turkey and go to sleep. You get the itis. Hardcore. We have successfully derailed our breakfast conversation to Thanksgiving dinner. To Thanksgiving lunch dinner.
So that's, I mean, yeah, I think that this is a very easily categorized breakfast. It's the best breakfast you have all year.
It's a thick breakfast.
Epic. It's thick with 2 C's.
So
I'm talking Mediterranean and Black Sea is what I'm talking about right now.
So give me a power ranking.
I mean, what is our power ranking? It's Captain America,
Captain America, Iron Man,
Iron Man 2,
Thor, Iron Man 2,
Iron Man 2,
Incredible Hulk,
TIH, Incredible Hulk.
I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say where I think, and then you can say where you think.
Oh yeah, you go first.
I think it goes between. I'll put it third. I think it goes between Iron Man and Thor. Yes.
Really?
So I like the origin stories better.
I hear what you're saying. I think this movie makes me so incredibly happy because it's got the sort of ethereal and almost like nostalgic concepts that you don't get from the other movies, in that like not only do you get to see Captain America on screen, you also get to see Iron Man on screen, and you also get to see Hulk on screen, and you also get to see Thor on screen. You know, it's like you get all these characters that, I mean, obviously at this point they're not very nostalgic because they've only been around for 5 years.
Or 5 weeks for us.
Right. And obviously I know these characters have been around for a long time, but these versions of these cinematic characters, have only been around for so long. But you get to kind of relive those ethereal moments where you, like, every time a new character's on screen, you get chills and you get excited about it. But I hear what you're saying, and I think, if you remove yourself from it and you are able to...
No, I'm not removing myself from it at all. I'm very much basing it on like my criteria for the power ranking is like, which movie did I enjoy more? Like, which movie did I enjoy watching more? And I think it was absolutely, I enjoyed watching Captain America and Iron Man more than I enjoyed watching the Avengers.
I don't know. I think. I mean, I will agree with you here because we have to.
No, but I
agree
mean,
on the power
I'm willing to compromise though. Like, where would you put it, given that I didn't say anything?
I mean, I was going to put it at the top.
Okay, then we'll put it in the middle. Compromise.
But I don't know. Like, I keep coming back to this point where the first Iron Man movie is so good. It is so incredibly good, and every week you go without watching it, you are poisoning yourself into thinking that there are movies in this whole series that are better than it.
But it's not in our top.
It's not even our top, and I almost think we made a mistake not putting it at the top. I almost think we need to restructure the power rankings.
We can change that
so that it is Iron Man, Avengers, Captain America.
I can live with that because I was kind of giving you a play on Captain America to begin with.
And I mean, like, I think Captain America is by far my favorite hero. I think I like his sequels much better than I like Iron Man's. But Iron Man 1, like, even Metacritic has it as the highest rated Marvel Cinematic Universe movie, and it's also the oldest, which means it's got the most reviews. Rotten Tomatoes has it as number 1, except for Thor Ragnarok, which has only 28 reviews compared to its 256.
Objectively, critically, it is the best movie. Well, it's also the only one that's like a complete movie. It's a story that doesn't rely on another story.
The whole thing could have ended after that.
And the same with Captain America.
Yeah.
So I think that's why they succeed. But I'm willing to restructure the power ranking. We could put Iron Man at 1.
I just think we're doing a disservice.
So you would go Iron Man, Avengers, Captain America. I can live with that.
Yep. I
can live with that.
I think Iron Man 1 might stay at the top. I think that
I mean, we've got some bangers yet to be released. And there's been a couple of these that I really enjoyed. The ones coming up.
There are a couple that I really getting into phase 2 where we're about to be. I actually don't remember very much of. I'm really excited to get into it because I don't even know what's in it.
Phase 2 is Iron Man 3, Captain America: The Winter Soldier, Thor: Dark World, Guardians of the Galaxy, Avengers: Age of Ultron, and Ant-Man.
Ant-Man is part of phase 2?
They're both first 2 phases are 6 movies.
And then phase 3 is like a whole kerfuffle.
It's being kerfuffed right now.
Yeah. But I'm excited about phase 2. I think there's some more that I like than I don't like. Just like an immediate memory of them. But I'm excited
because I've never seen Dark World.
I think I haven't seen Winter Soldier.
I have not seen Winter Soldier in theaters. I have not seen Dark World. I've not seen Guardians of the Galaxy in theaters. I fell asleep in the middle of Age of Ultron and haven't watched it since then.
We're about to have a lot
this
of
like sounds like I hate Marvel movies, but I love these movies. I just like I don't rewatch movies all that much.
I will say, going through this experience, I am having
I'm
so
excited to like I want to record again.
I will I'll catch myself researching these characters more than I ever have before.
Same.
Researching at this age in my life, obviously I have the most appreciation for sort of like acting and directing more than I've ever had before. Right. And I find myself like researching the writers, the producers, the directors, the actors, and sort of how they play into the lore and stuff like that. So I'm having so much fun doing this.
Me too. Absolutely. To kind of rein it in a little bit though, we got another power ranking to do.
Loki takes the cake.
Good. Again. Glad we're agreed. He's still number 1. Great.
Yeah. Loki here above Loki Thor.
Right? I wouldn't say they're different villains. I'm going to keep them. I would keep them categorized the same. Like it is still Loki.
Okay. The Chitauri are at the bottom. No. We have to include them. No. No, actually, they're not even.
They're still
they're
still better than
Incredible
the
Hulk.
US government. But Loki, great villain. Just hats off to Tom Hiddleston.
Yeah, I mean we don't deserve him in the series.
Oh, by far best acting in the series so far.
Oh, except maybe RDJ and Iron Man.
There's been a couple standouts. Couple standout actors. I think I'm getting ahead of myself, but I think Tom Holland's brilliant as Peter Parker and Spider-Man. Thank you guys so much for listening to another episode of Bacon and Eggs, where we talked about the Avengers. It's been a lot of fun. I hope you guys enjoyed it.
I hope you enjoyed it as much as
we
did.
There's no way they enjoyed it as much as we did.
I know. This is so much fun. As always, you can find us on Twitter and Instagram. My Twitter and Instagram is at AmeriCarlin. That's America RLIN. And Ethan is at Wow Now, but the O's are
You can also tweet us directly at Baconandeggs23. We still don't have an Instagram. I really need to do that.
You can also email us. We'd really love any feedback or questions or anything you'd like us to talk about through our email. It's baconandeggsmedia@gmail.com. We will respond to every single email we get until there are more than... You know what? Just keep emailing us.
By the time we have a problem responding to emails, we'll have somebody responding to our emails for us.
That's right. Our graphic is done by Vashaun Brandon. If you need his information, please contact us at baconandeggsmedia@gmail.com.
Thank you for listening to Bacon Eggs. We really appreciate it, guys. It means the world to us that you've come out and given us the support so far. Keep listening, downloading, tell all your friends.
The best way for this podcast to be spread is through word of mouth, and our goal is to grow and to make this something that we can do more and more so that we can bring more content to you.
So just keep telling everybody you know. Tell them about Bacon Eggs. Tell them about the good truth. And until next time, arrivederci.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G.